Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Open Mouse Podcast. With your host here, Professor Jazz, and my co-host, Dr. Scorpio. But tonight, we do have a special guest with us for a very interesting topic we were going to have today. Let me introduce to you Venus. Say hi, Venus.
Hello, how's everyone doing this evening?
Hello, Governor.
Hey,
How's everyone doing tonight?
Ah, bueno.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
good?
muy bueno. Sí.
I'm good. I'm good.
¿Y tú?
I'm
See, I
doing
don't know that language, bro.
fine.
Ah,
I've been
ah,
trying to get there. Like, hey,
We're
well,
all good here today.
might
So it
I
was
say
Friday.
it is Friday, right?
Well, basically, yeah.
almost. Yeah.
Turn up, enjoy ourselves. Why might I say both of you guys look amazing tonight?
Oh,
Might I
Oh,
say?
Dr. Scorpio, you stop.
Oh,
yes.
I've only
Always,
just begun. I've only just begun.
Mr. Extra.
Mr.
Oh,
Extra, yeah.
I've only just begun. And first of all, yeah, Jazz, you were saying something. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Please
No,
continue.
it's okay. I just want to go ahead and introduce the topic tonight. It's about polyamorous
That
relationships,
is a
okay?
fact.
Um,
That is a
with
fact.
the way the world is now, it seems like more poly relationships are becoming the normal right now. And so, it's something where it's, this discussion, opinions, they go split. Some people think it's positive, some people think it's negative. People think it's a good combination to have more people in it to grow more than just physical. And then there's other negative people that say, no, that's not the traditional way. And that's something an excuse just to openly cheat. So we have Venus tonight as our guest. Um, just basically talk to her. We're gonna go ahead and conversate, and just she will speak about her experience, and maybe this will open up more people think about this other type of relationship. It's not just a man and a woman, and just two people, getting together, and that is it. It's not monogamy.
Mhm.
People are being more polyamorous. So again, welcome Venus. Thank you for coming in today, and
Big
I
facts.
hope we have a really good topic tonight.
Oh, we should.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So Dr. Scorpio, would you like to go ahead and start?
Yes. I have no problem with that. First of all, that we formally introduced Venus. Venus is a great person. So we are gonna be real and somewhat raw a little bit too. You know what I'm saying? Like we get down into it. And I wanted to kind of just pick your ear a little bit at first, before we pick your brain, pick your brain a little bit. Before we do that, I wanted to give everybody a chance to get to know you. This is your first time on the show. So maybe we could just give like a introduction to yourself, maybe what you got going on, what you're doing, who you may be involved with. You single, married, looking for somebody,
Oh gosh, he wants to know
You're
everything.
doing too much.
everything. Everything. Look, you on open mouth. We talk about relationships right now. Everybody want to know you. Everybody want to know what's going on with you. It's your first time on the show.
It's
Nobody knows what's going
complicated.
on.
How about that?
All right. Well, that's a
Oh
I'll
good
well,
leave it
start.
open ended. It's complicated. And
There
if
you go.
anybody wants to know anything else, then they're going to have to hit me up and find
right.
me
Oh,
on some type
Oh,
of
how could
social media
how could
platform,
how could I
perhaps.
oh,
know?
feisty.
Well, Well, I mean, hey, you will be back. I'm sure. We'll have some more conversations. I'm sure. But maybe somebody wants to reach out to you for anything that you do. Any of your thoughts on something. You never know. So
I'm a writer and a poet, storyteller.
yeah,
Those are hobbies of mine, but I also work in the field of technology. I work in IT as a program manager, program and project manager, as well as a UX designer. As far as all of my personal things, I'm not going to give all of that up on these platforms,
Oh
not
yeah.
at all.
hey,
Again,
look, hey, look,
if you
baby.
find me, you find me. But
Listen,
for the most
listen.
part,
She's a
I am a
young,
woman.
elusive young woman. Yes, she's a very young, elusive woman.
I'm
So,
a woman that wears many hats. So
fellas, good luck
I do
shooting
wear
your
all types.
shot. Yeah, good luck shooting your shot, fellas. She trying to close the door on us. So let us.
Not closing
Okay.
the door.
Look.
It's
Okay.
Who's closing
complicated.
the
I'm just trying
door?
to keep. I'm just trying to let everybody know what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Young
Um,
and the old, meek and the bold. What are you
there you
talking
go.
Oh
about?
There you
shit.
go. There it is. Speaking of,
You
speaking of,
see?
do you think even just generally, in today's world, I know, um, poly is a thing everybody's mentioning, or they doing stuff. How people doing stuff for social media and everything. But just generally, do you think that people even know like what a polyamorous relationship is, or um, you mentioned, was it a polygamous relationship as well, right? The difference even between those, nobody
Yeah,
even.
it's a difference. You got a difference in polyamorous and polygamy. You're looking at spouses opposed to just girlfriend, boyfriend, open relationships. They have all these different names. I'm not going to tell you that I know all of them by heart because I don't. Um,
Right.
Now that was a situation where I should have got my cousin Tess from California. She's up in Sacramento. She would have got on here. This is something that she got a degree in. She
Mm,
mastered sex. She went and studied it, and she also is a social worker that assists people with certain things. I think I got her
Gotcha.
business card somewhere. But
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
collective, I really think people are just they heard of the term, they've seen different examples of things, but they don't know all of the behind the scenes. I think people have gotten poly mixed up with group sex. How about that?
mhm, mhm. Well, I completely agree with that. I think uh, people are not as open minded to actually see it's something more than just the sex. It's not just
Right.
having sex with multiple partners, but it's something more that you can build off with. Like you say, polygamy is where you marry the other people. You marry multiple wives, marry multiple husbands. But polyamorous is more like you just starting out in a relationship with more than one partner. So Venus, so I can tell that you're more of a pro polygamist. You're more, you're into opening up to a polyamorous relationship, correct?
Yes, definitely. Um, I'm open to just about any form of poly, to be honest with you, be it a spouse or respecting, multiple partners, just choosing to go in the direction of growing and building together. Personally, I'm looking at the benefit of multiple streams of income and partnerships of ones coming together to actually build an empire and create generational wealth for our families. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm not really, all the physical things where the intimate encounters come in. I'm not going to say those aren't a plus, but I will say, um, everything that comes to mind with me, I just feel like it takes, what they say, teamwork makes the dream work. Two
Yeah.
heads are better than one.
Oh, it
I'd much
definitely
rather,
is in that face.
shut up, Dr.
For
Scorpio, with your
sure.
good
I
old
love
freaky
how
self.
I love how modest you being though. I love how modest you is, and I love how like just I love that about it because it's just the real perception, especially even to anybody. I mean, even like I'm gonna just speak for a nigga like me. That's it's not the main thing you're thinking of, but of course it's like, yeah, I got two shorties at the crib. What's happening? That's it. You feel me? That's all. So no one really is thinking about this other side where it has this great you know what I mean, effect on how your relationship gonna go. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah. But one thing I can say, you have certain situations where both your shorties not at the crib at the same house,
Right.
there are
Right.
situations where there are men who have multiple wives and they actually have the income to support two households, you
Right.
know. But I have seen that, a lot of times when you have situations like that, like me personally, if we're going to be able to, pay two mortgages, I would like for us all to be on like the same land together at least, because
Right.
the travel and going back and forth to different places and spaces, which I know there are men who have women in different countries,
True.
and they know about each other. So for me, it's more so like if we could, get a few assets with a couple of acres of land and build a few homes on that land and actually come together as a tribe
Right.
and maybe I help you with the children and you help me with the pets, or you clean the kitchen and I go do a particular subject that I'm good at with the children, whatever the case may be. It for me, it's not just about, just getting together and shacking up,
Right.
with two men or two women,
But
things
that's
like
where
that.
it starts, though. That's where it starts. Usually, you just like dating anyone, just hooking up with anyone. You start off with the physical part, but if it's something more that you want to go into this lifestyle where you have more than one partner, um, it depends on how you view it. It depends on what rules you set, what's your mind frame, and what you think, what your partner might think about how they might think what polyamorous relationship will be. And not everybody will agree the same type of way.
Well,
Very
I
much so.
will say everybody ain't starting off physical though
True. I mean, it could
in
be
the
just
relationships,
starting off,
Yeah,
just
because
talking.
some people probably do have to get the stages, especially if you have experienced person and someone who may not be experienced, but they're being introduced and they're trying to give it a chance. You may not just say, "Hey, bust it open," and all that. You may not say all that at first. You may just try to introduce somebody, get them, they
Right.
coming from a different, thinking.
everybody have different boundaries,
Yeah, and it's
True.
different speed. Everybody got to move at different speed. Some people might be like, "All right, cool, I'm ready to have a threesome." Some people might be like, "Hey, look, I like y'all, but and I'm trying to get to know this, but I need to like move at my speed when it comes to certain shit."
because I was just talking with a girlfriend of mine and I was just telling her, I was like, I have certain people that are looking to, you know, perhaps be a part of my life. And one of the things that I said to her, this was right before I got on this live with you all. And I was just like, I don't think I want to get into another relationship where a person is not into the things that I'm into. You know, it's like I'm defeating the purpose if I get into a space with someone, but they're not into some of my passions and desires. So it's
Right.
like if you can't be a whole, I know that you have to meet people halfway with certain things, but if there's something that I'm passionate about and you just it's a no go, then that probably should be a no go, altogether because
Mm-hmm.
then you may be happy because I'm willing to yield to make sure you're happy, but you're not willing to do the same for me. So it's like you can't just keep putting yourself in spaces that aren't complimenting your standards, if I might say so,
Right.
No, I 100% agree. Can I ask you guys, both of y'all, in general, how do you feel like you should deal with that? It's people that might be listening that's like, how do I deal with something like that? You know what I mean? For me,
Deal with what?
it
Right.
may be someone who maybe not be into your, you may be into,
Your
I don't
kink
know. Yeah,
or
exactly. You may be into sports and they not into sports. And that may be your lifestyle. You may be just a sports fanatic, athletic guy. This girl may be just a stay at home, chill, watch movies all day girl. You know
well,
what I mean?
once again, the title of the room is polyamorous relationships.
There you
You
go.
know, here we are. So
Mm,
maybe this person is more in tune with what it is that I like and this person isn't. Or
Right.
maybe, this relationship is not polygamy to where we're husbands or we're wives, uh I I can go find someone who can entertain me to the point where I interact with this person and maybe they're just a brainiac or something like myself. And so we can sit down and read and pick each other's brain, whereas this person is the person that actually fulfill my kinks or, provides in certain ways. Again, we're not just looking at poly relationships being just men taking on multiple women, but it is also women that can take on multiple men. And, I personally don't see every person getting into a space in a monogamous relationship where everything is being fulfilled. And that's why I see, I've seen different people step outside of marriages and things like that because,
Hmm.
and I don't know, it's just so much to talk about with this topic because you have so many people that look to try to control and don't realize that they're trying to control another person, and you
Right.
can't. You can't control no one's hands, no one's feet. When it comes to a man and a woman, it,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't take much for them to go and have an orgasm.
Right.
Men can stand up and get something done in a matter of 2 minutes, if not one, and be good, be fulfilled. So you have a lot of people that look to try to control situations, and that also pushes people into doing other things. You got a lot of people that don't believe that their spouses should have friends, friends of the same sex or friends of opposite sex, and that causes confusion as well because that means that there's probably a problem with trust if you don't feel as though your person can actually move about with people of the opposite gender and not have sex.
Right, because it's not always about that. It's not always, just because you're talking to someone of the opposite sex, it's physical, it's sex. No, it's not. It could be someone, like you said, like a coworker or just someone that you've known for a long time. It's more than just physical. People could actually communicate with the opposite sex. Um,
Right.
and like you said, if it's an issue in a relationship, then maybe there's a trust issue, or maybe it wasn't communicated as well, because that's the main
Mhm.
thing I think as being in a polyamorous relationship. You have to communicate whether you're going into this by yourself and seeking multiple partners, or you're in a relationship already and trying to bring someone in the mix. No matter what, you need to have that communication, correct?
Definitely, definitely. Communication is the key in any type of relationship, any ship. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? A friendship, a partnership, any type of ship that you're looking to come into where there's more than one person present, you have to be able to communicate those things
Of
as
course.
to what it is you desire, what you like, your thoughts, your ideas. That's one of the main issues that we have inside of our society as a collective.
Oh
People
yeah.
don't know how to communicate amongst one another,
But
be
that's the thing.
sociable.
But that's the thing. Why is it so hard for us to communicate as grown adults with another partner? Excuse me. Especially if we're trying to have some kind of relationship with them.
I think the problem is a lot of times, like you said that people are more physical first. And that's most times the problem. Like, I don't think people are taking time with relationships anymore with getting to know a person because a lot of times you can get to know a person and find out that they're not compatible with you.
True.
Now, one of the things that I've come to understand as I've aged is that when it comes to people, be it man or woman, you know, everyone has a higher self and a lower self. So what we're dealing with is a person's lower self behaviors tolerable for you, or are you willing to tolerate a lying ass man? Are you willing to tolerate someone who's a thief? Are you willing to tolerate someone who just may be a cheat? It's like, what are you willing to tolerate? Because again, everybody is growing and unfolding as the days pass by. So
Right.
it's like, what are you willing to tolerate with your person?
True. And I think it's only fair to openly communicate with that person from the beginning, and then let them choose. I think, you could tell them, okay, this is the way I want to bring somebody else into our relationship. I feel like it's the benefits of it. And then you let your partner choose whether they want to or not. It's like you at least giving them that choice instead of, again, lying about it, not communicating, and then it becomes something different.
Right, right. right? A lot of times people um they put on a face. So a fabricated, costume, or perhaps let's just say it that way. I usually call it the resume. And what I use it as the resume because when you meet people or when you go to an interview or you're looking to find a job, what you do is you turn in your resume and you make sure your resume looks good so that they can call you for that interview. Well, if you really got your resume tweaked up, you got the job.
Right.
Okay. You get the job, you have a 90-day probation. In that 90 days, you know what I'm saying? You come to work on time, you're never late, you get your break, you back early, you're not really communicating with anyone, you're following the rules. Those 90 days pass, you ain't even got no PTO for real, but you'd have called and said you're gonna be a little late, today is not a good day for me, I'm taking off, but it's payday, you're slacking. And that's usually what people see in relationships. A person shows you what they need for you to see, or what they think you want to see, so that they can get what it is that they're looking to accomplish. Some
True.
people have an objective of, wanting money. Some people want, sex. They have different objectives on what it is that they're looking to get from someone. And once they get what they got, sometimes they begin to get comfortable. No different than that resume. You got the job and now you comfortable. And then when you get comfortable, you know, sometimes it may cause some friction between these two people because you thought you knew somebody because they gave you all the good stuff. They didn't tell you right away, like, hey, in my last relationship, I seem to be angry often. You know what I'm saying? And a person like, huh? You know, ain't nobody finna just tell you, they last relationship ended because of domestic violence, or unless it was the victim. You
To
know what
be
I'm saying?
exactly, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. I was gonna say like, well, exactly. I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Unless you were the victim. I mean, trigger warning for anyone that may be, dealing with that. And I will say, I do not promote nor accept domestic
Of
violence. I am
course.
an advocate totally against it because I've been in that space before as well. So I will say that with all of that, you just have people that don't take the time to get to know people, and not everyone is meant to be your partner or your significant other, your spouse. You see people that change up once they live with each other. A person may not keep house the way you feel they should keep house. Um, Again, behaviors. I think a lot of things that are going on in relationships are more so rushed. You know,
You're
rushed,
not really
and
right. You're not really getting to know that person. You should get to know that person first, but a lot of people like to just jump in,
uh-huh.
and not really knowing who they're sleeping with, basically.
Basically.
Yeah.
And that can turn into a lot of turmoil because from what I was told, the same amount of time you put into a relationship, it takes that same amount of time to heal from that relationship. And so, I watch people, they're dating, and they got wifey goals on a date. You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's like you got to understand the difference between dating and courting. Everybody has the same overall goal. If you're courting with someone, then they know that the overall end goal is marriage.
Right.
Dating means that I'm not committed to you. I have several different people that I go on a date with because I'm trying to, wean out who may be, my overall goal for later or who may not be. And so again, I've seen it over the years. I've seen it in my own life, just moving fast, thinking, somebody just sent you this magic, person that's just out of nowhere, and you don't even know that they're a psycho. So
Right. That is true. And you're
yeah.
right, though. They always put that face in front of you, like
Hmm.
they know what to say to you. They know what you want to hear in the beginning, and then, like you said, once it gets more of a serious relationship or even living together, then it's totally different. You don't realize it's so different when you're dating someone and you start living with someone.
Hmm.
Completely different, you know. So the question is, I wanted to ask, what made you realize this is something that you are open to, in a relationship like that you're open to go ahead and have a relationship like that?
Mhm.
Well, I can talk about a time in my past where I had a guy for this and a guy for that,
Hmm.
a friend for this and a friend for that.
Makes sense.
And you know what I'm saying? This one was good at this, and
Right.
this one was treated me like that.
Hmm.
This
You could
one,
get with
was
this.
real
You could get
good mentally. That part, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean,
with
Dr.
this. You
Scorpio.
could get with that.
So it worked out, and it was like, okay, dang, why do I have to have different, partnerships or friendships with all these different people, because this person may be an intimate partner, but this person may treat me right without intimacy, and we have good conversation, and he warms me, and then this person right here challenges me to be a better person, and I'm utilizing all these people, and at some point they may know each other, but at the same time, am I doing something to play with someone's feelings, or why am I doing all this and this? But then I can also speak to you from a different point of view, a more current point of view. Um, I probably I had a partial hysterectomy several years ago, and for some reason, in my most recent years of aging, it seems that most of the guys that are attracted to me are much younger guys and not older guys. And no disrespect to the older guys, but I like to crack a little jokes every now and then. I ain't really with the erectile dysfunction or catching the
All
worms, but
right.
no,
Funny as hell.
It hasn't
yeah,
worked out now,
You
though.
said let's be clear though. You said let's be clear though.
let's
Let's
be
be clear.
clear. You know what I'm saying?
I
I
hear
like
you.
to be comedic with the things that I say, but here recently, for some reason, more of the men that find themselves attracted to me are younger than I am.
I
And
understand.
I've had the pleasure of meeting a few young men who didn't have children. And so
Yeah.
one of the things, because I've had my children are adults, but I've seen how poly could be beneficial, because whether this person has a child or not, I love them enough to know that I love them to where I want them to experience what made me feel love in a different aspect, which was being a parent. So
Nice.
if I had to take on a sister wife for the sake of fulfilling someone's, you know, thoughts and things of that, what they want as far as being a parent and having a child, I would do that. Um, and again, where I'm at with it, I know that I've been in relationships, and again, like we're dealing with people in society, they're not trusting. You have people. What you mean your best friend is a man? People
Right.
don't want to. They feel like that's not a possible thing. Like that's not. And it just makes me think that people come from a lot of turmoil and trauma in their past. You know, lives or years of living in their youth, something, because why is it such a bad thing to have friends of the opposite sex? That means there's something with trust that needs to be addressed, and things that have been swept under a rug that haven't been fulfilled, a lack of self-confidence, you
Right.
know and if you think somebody cheating on you and you can't trust them with this person and that person, maybe you need to sit down and reevaluate self, and who you actually again got yourself into a relationship with. Because at this moment, if someone is like, you feel like they messing with this woman and that woman, what do you think will fix it? I've seen people in my families who have taken on other children when their spouse, went outside of their relationship and had other children, but instead of them reacting and releasing, they loved on their spouse and those children, you see. So I think it's really something that people should, I'm not saying everybody is for everybody.
Right.
Some people fight for monogamy, but to be realistic with yourself, if
And
you can be an adult and sit down with your partner to ask questions, it's better than you sitting in your bedroom constantly crying because you think, oh boy, it's over here at old girl house today. Why he ain't answer his phone? You know, why he ain't answer his phone when we could all be chilling doing watching Netflix together,
Right.
exactly.
So
I understand that, and I understand the logic behind that. I mean, like, so would you say most people that's doing what you just explained, they in maybe like a polygamous relationship versus a
some people in a poly relationship and don't even know they in one.
yeah,
True.
like That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
That is
They
not a
person,
poly relationship.
yeah,
Right.
they person got another person,
Right.
but they not telling them about it. They just doing what they want to do.
True.
Right.
And it's more
So
like, again, a lot of people are fighting over monogamy relationships because, again, you're supposed to meet your dream partner, and they're supposed to be basically the almost perfect person. They're supposed to do everything for you. And then nowadays, it seems like we're not maybe satisfied other ways. So that's where we tend to find somebody else that fulfills something that you're missing in that relationship. It doesn't have to be physical, but it could be something else that you're missing in your partner right now that you can find it with somebody else. It's like, well, if I have these two people, it'll make that perfect person, one whole person, but it takes two people now,
yes,
and it makes it more acceptable now because again, it's like we are more not picky, but we already know what we want, and if we can't find it, we really cannot find it in one person, then we will find it in multiple people until we get what we want, which is multiple people fulfill what one person could have done but couldn't find.
right, right, for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, but also it's like again, there's a lot of negative things about this. People say again, oh, that's just an excuse again to have multiple sex partners. What is the positive out of this? Because at some point somebody's got to become jealous. It might be competition. Maybe he might
Yeah.
love the other person more than me. There's just a lot of things that can happen.
I've
I
seen a lot
think
of different situations with that like that. Oh, go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry.
it's all right. It's all right. I want to hear what you have to say as well. Shoot, we having a dialogue.
It's
Right.
just funny to me because I've heard of so many different. Well, they weren't even necessarily in relationships, but like threesomes gone bad, people trying to fight each other. You know what I mean? People stealing stuff from each other, all type of stupid, goofy shit. And it's just it gives a scenario, it gives a kind of stereotype to what happens. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, like a normal nigga just kind of thinks like a poly relationship. I just get to get two bitches. Like they not thinking nothing about anything else. Like anything
Right.
that comes with the shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot to
Well,
it. It's two other lives that you're responsible for, and then not only you got
Exactly.
kids with them. That's why, like, I kind of feel like the only person I see that's kind of doing it and doing it publicly that I know of is what's bro's name? Gosh, I can't remember his name right now. For whatever reason, I cannot remember his name. Fredo
it's a
Bang.
few of them.
Fredo Bang. Yeah, he had the baby with the two girls, and they doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? They finna raise their kid or whatever the case may be, and that's good for them. You know what I'm saying? It works for certain people, but you know what I'm saying? Like he knows how to do whatever he needs to do in those areas where you got to be able to say, okay, if I'm finna adapt myself to this, what do I need to do? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Have mine.
Well, the
So,
thing is, I've seen a lot of things go sour, and I think most of that um, is due to, again, what we talked about with the professor, communication.
hmm
A man can't just go out and say, hey, babe, here's another, chick. Me and her already been together type
Like,
stuff.
what the
You
fuck?
know, like it's
and it'd be
supposed to be a
crazy.
partnership, and,
Right.
and 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 you do things together. You know what I'm saying? And the way you introduce that, maybe you all can come up with a strategic way of handling things. Maybe if your lady an introvert, then maybe you go offer the lady another drink and ask her to come sit with you, or some things like that. But it has to be an introduction that
hmm
doesn't seem like deceit or lies involved. You know,
hmm
and as an adult, like I really think that it takes for each person to be in a space in their relationship first. You know what I'm saying? Like if you lack trust with your dude or your lady, you shouldn't be talking about no poly nothing with this person because
Right.
you already don't trust them. You already are suffering from things that are internal because a lack of trust means that somebody has done something prior to you or internally you have an insecurity. Something is going on where you're not comfortable with self and this person. So
Mhm.
it has to take a friendship within that relationship to even get to that space to where everybody has a mutual understanding, everybody's self-esteem is in a certain place, and things are being handled a certain way. You have to even sit down with your partner and have a conversation of expectations and how you look to see things if in fact you take this step and go towards having a sister wife or a couple of husbands, whatever it is that you're trying to do. You need to sit down with your partner and have a discussion to even say what you want it to look like or feel like.
Right.
And then if you have a code word when something is uncomfortable. I was in a situation with my I was in a situation with I was in a situation with a partner of mine, and some things were going a certain way. And we were courting, so at this point there was a lot of information shared amongst each other, and I seen some things move a certain way in his bank account. And so I knew when I seen that bank account look a little different during the breakfast hours, because banks, they give you all the information when transactions are occurring. So I knew it was breakfast. And so he went about things the wrong way. He interacted with a girl who was into poly relationships, but they had already went all the way before even,
Trying to talk to
communicating
you.
anything with me. So it was like some sneaky stuff going on, and I had to play Inspect the Gadget to find out the information. But then once I found out the information, everybody was kind of iffy, because they thought that I was gonna feel some type of way. But the reason why I didn't feel insecure or have a lack of trust was because I asked my person, be honest with me. You know what I'm saying? If you can be honest with me, this can be looked at a different way. So if you have it in you to be honest with me, then, I'm going to let you know we can see where we're going with this. And what really happened was because I'm a straightforward and upfront type of person, I ended up going and I met the young lady, and but she she was iffy. And see, this is the reason why I believe in poly relationships. It can't be one sided. You got to make sure everyone is involved. The young lady was trying so hard to prove something to me
Mm,
that she kept us both on hold when it came time for us to meet. So he's trying to reach out to her. She's not answering his calls. So
Mm.
now he's feeling some type of way because you did all this talking and you did some deceitful things to me, and now she's standing you up and you can't understand it. But if I call, she picking up the phone. But see, she's been in a poly relationship before and she instantly knew that you were moving incorrectly. So when I ended up interacting with the young lady, she came over. Now it's two females against this one brother. But see, if we'd have met initially together as a couple, things may have occurred differently.
Sure.
So when she came over, she set her phone down. My partner at the time, he already had an attitude because why did it take so many days to get you here? Why did it take all these days? What have you been doing? And I really believe that she was trying to get herself together to, because when you first meet somebody, this person may find you to be attractive, but this person may not. So, us as women, we try to get cute, make sure we look at, dapper. So she got dapper. I guess she came to realize that she wasn't the only pretty high yellow girl in the room. So, when everything came to, she had set her phone down to go use the restroom. And when she set her phone down, uh, out
uh-oh.
out of just
Uh-oh.
being regular, he
Uh-oh.
was watching Netflix on his phone. She went to the bathroom and someone texted her phone,
Oh.
and the person's name was Daddy.
Mm.
Uh-oh.
So just out of the norm, he had picked the phone up, forgetting that he was on his phone. And he was like, "Oh, this ain't even my phone." So he put the phone down, but he seen the message by then. He said, "Daddy said, what you doing?" So when she came in, she wanted to argue, go back and forth, this, that, and the other. But now, because we're two women and he's one man, she's looking for someone to meet on a level with. And I had to step back and tell her, no, I'm team him.
She looking for an advocate.
Yeah, she was looking for an advocate, and I wasn't it. And so when that didn't work out on her behalf, she blanked out. She was cussing, you know what I'm saying? She like, I'm out of here. So he was about to ruin something for
Right.
somebody that wasn't even all the way there. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Exactly.
when it comes to communication, communication is a must when you get to talking about you're gonna be in a poly relationship. You have to set some boundaries and standards and expectations of what it is that you're trying to
Yeah.
do. You have to let know right away. We got a B, C, and a D. We got a
This
plan B.
is.
You know, we got different steps of what we're going to take if we're going to do this because you don't want to ruin something that you've already built with somebody else trying to do some sneaky mischievous stuff with somebody that's not even ready for all of that. You know, you got some people that feel like, well, they got a relationship and I'm the third person and I'm just going to go deal with who I want to deal with and come see them when I want to. No, this ain't what that is.
Right.
And you know what
You
else is
know,
the problem? It's like it's too many Chiefs, not enough Indians.
yes,
Niggas don't know how to
definitely.
just be like, all right, let me just see what's going on. I fought with you enough to see. Let me see how this gonna work. If it don't work at
Well,
enough
my
time,
thing is,
like,
I have to be the alpha female. You know, like I'm
you
sorry.
gotta
Like I
fight
don't
for your
know.
spot. You gotta fight for
Well,
your
the
spot.
thing is, if I'm not the coach, I'm the captain.
Ooh,
You understand? See, the coach got the playbook, but when it comes to the captain of the team on the court, he
say
already know
less.
the plays, so he's still gonna call the plays once the coach rap with him. You understand?
Mm,
Yeah.
So again, it's a team sport. So my
that's
apologies,
what it.
Dr. Scorpio, if I cut you off.
You did not. I hear you. You did not cut me off at all. That's what I'm talking about. I just, you know what I'm saying? I'm just, taking in and soaking up what you are saying as far as just how, what I mean, things can go when it comes to like not handling things right. Because that's why I wanted to say, um, I want to salute the ism so much because it's not about that, but it's about certain things and key elements to where a man, and I learned from real people who were like involved in stuff, like from a sense of, I looked up to certain P's who put out material content like Sinful, the P, or maybe Freeze, or even Gorgeous Dre. They give the intellectual property, and they tell people who maybe just just learning shit. It's like you have to actually love and care for the women. You got to know
Right.
what's going on with the woman. So if he cared enough about like how you would feel, he would have done it more so than just the flesh aspect. Like, let me just go ahead and fuck this bitch real quick. Da da da. And they be like, I ain't love da da da. Like it was one of them type demos instead of just involving you from the jump and be like, hey, look, this what we can do. And but niggas sometimes fuck up, and
He
it's
had
not
to
it's not good.
apologize. He was like, you don't even have, he said, I hate to say you told me so. Like at the end, when all of it went sour, he felt bad. When I say
Mm-hmm.
he felt bad. He felt stupid. He was apologetic.
I
He
mean,
didn't even want to talk
PP.
about it because he got played and got insulted. And the person basically,
And you
he
never
tried
know
to
with
bring
those kind of
everything together.
demos. I'm sorry,
hmm
baby. I'm sorry. I
She
didn't
and
mean to
she
cut you.
burnt out. When I
Yeah,
say she left.
you see what happened to DJ Academics? You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
Like you,
and that was the
you,
thing. I don't
and
know
you,
what she thought, but
you
like
never know.
she was trying to sit there and converse with him and try to get in between. And I'm like, I'm not even the way you move it. It's like you feel like there's a difference between the two of us. You don't even realize who I am. Do you
Hmm.
even see what's going on?
Hmm. Especially because you
And I
coming into the
realized,
situation. Yeah.
that's the thing. And I'm like, that's what I had to tell her. Like, girl, I'm saying Drew, boo. You know what I'm saying? You sitting up here, you trying to talk to me as if I'm finna be on your side to put something down. I'm trying to figure out what he's trying to figure out. Because if he upset, guess what? We upset.
Hmm.
Right.
And this is how it's going. So if you're not looking to fit into what we got going on, it's not going to go on because you have to have discipline in these things too. You have to be able to communicate and know how to communicate and articulate what's really going on. If you thinking that you're just going to get in a poly relationship with somebody and it's just, hey, look, it's all hands on deck. We finna just be hoes. That ain't what this is.
Exactly.
So We got to get to know each other and communicate a certain way. And some people just not really ready for that. They come in
It
True.
at an
gotta get it. You
immature,
you you
you
gotta
know.
get through the barrier. You gotta pass certain tests before you get to just have a
And,
yeah.
and that's when you know where, if you conversate with a person, you're gonna see their mentality towards this, whether
Hmm.
they're
Mhm.
ready for it or they're not. But again, it all starts with that communication in the beginning. And, if that's something that you are or something that you want to do, why not be open about it, communicate about it first instead of trying to have another relationship over here on the side and then your partner finds out. Now that's different compared to what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Definitely.
There's nothing wrong
Def-
with that aspect. That's why, like I said, I do get it. It is a better way to go about it, but you gotta know how to do it if you're going to do that way. You know what I'm saying? It don't always work with everybody. So if you didn't know of him to do stuff like that before, and he just come introduced some shit like that to you, it's going to sound crazy, and you're
Well,
not. You know what I'm saying? Like for any female, it just even if it was a male and the girl was just like, "Look, I'm trying to damn near do X, Y, and Z." Like what?
well,
Like
the thing was, I introduced it to him because this was something that I was into.
okay.
But coming from the background that he was from, he was more accustomed to monogamy, but he wasn't living
Right.
monogamous. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so
Right.
my thing is, I'm not minimizing who I am or breaking away from my standards to go with someone. But my thing is, if you ask me for monogamy, I know what that looks like also.
Right.
And if
That's a
that's the
fact.
way you want to go, we can go that way. But if
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
that part, like, so
Right.
if you want to be in an open relationship, I know how that looks as well. But I guarantee you, I'm going to be more of a winner in that situation than
Right.
you. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times things happen a certain way when it comes to a woman and a man. I'm just
Well,
being
I mean,
honest.
it depends on the man's ass. I mean, his mindset. I mean, because
True.
Mhm.
if he's dealing with you and he knows, okay, like in those certain things and those certain barriers are set, it's like he has the mindset of I'm doing whatever I'm doing, you do whatever you're doing, but that's not really the point. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of dude that'll be dealing with you for a long time, and then he really feel like I do enough of the bullshits. You finna do whatever. You probably gonna probably fold and be like, damn, you know what? I've been dealing with this dude for like 7 years. But I'm gonna go ahead and just do this shit because let me see what this shit gonna be like. You know what I'm saying? Like, or you'll be dealing with somebody and it's just like that. But it has to be that kind of a thing to fit that category because you know a person's mindset. Once they get involved with you, you figure out what makes a person tick, especially
Let me
after intimacy. You know what I'm saying?
let me tell you something, Dr. Scorpion, Professor Jazz. Um,
Thanks.
One of the things that I've seen with uh and I'm sorry, I gotta say it. Well, I'm not sorry, I'm apologetic. Most times one of the things that I've seen with men is men, they speak so highly of what they do and this, that, and the other. Even with group sex or having a threesome, something like that. A lot of times they don't have the confidence to even approach that situation.
Hmm.
And when you meet a woman that is open to those things, when you get to that forefront, when that table has been placed in front of you, I've watched a lot of them fold and nut up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what other words to use right now, but like, I try to keep it kind of kosher. But to
I
be
know
honest
what you're
with you,
saying.
the hood
I
and
know
come
what
through
you're
them
saying.
niggas nut up. They do. They get to that point and that opportunity and they get scared. You say something to her, you be like, "Oh, I thought you was ready for this." She
Yeah,
might
cause
be a little more comfortable with you going up. Now you ready to finesse it and tell me to take a step.
Right.
yeah, it's just cause I mean, hey, dude. I mean, look, um, like I said, it's really no rule book to this shit. I mean, so you know how it be. Niggas be acting like they know stuff and they may not have all the way did something.
They
And
might
you
not
know,
even.
yeah, exactly. So and it's not to front certain niggas' moves per se, but it is what it is. Sometimes niggas let on more than they think they do. They
That
know.
ego got the best
Well,
of them.
and a lot of
Ego for
times
sure.
they might think, oh, well, they had multiple partners, they didn't have just a girl at home, but they had the girls, the females on the side. They think they'll be ready for the polyamorous relationship, which at the end, a lot of times they're not. They're not prepared,
Hmm.
and it's so different than, like you say, you yourself having multiple partners and your partner don't know, or having a threesome. It's way more complicated. It's not complicated, but it is more work because it's not just you and your partner working in the relationship, but now you're adding another person. So now you have to go ahead and not just take care of your woman, but you got to take care of this other female, and and it is more work because now it involves three different people's mindsets. That all three of you guys have to cooperate and do this together, work this out together, or it's not going to work.
Right, that's
This
true.
is true.
That's true. That's why I just kind of, I don't know. I just look at shit differently now. You know what I'm saying? And even in, let's just say, even in a traditional relationship, you got to be able to say, I'm growing and I want something different, or I'm seeing things different, or I'll do whatever. And if that's where you are, you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to do that. And the communication was definitely a big part of that. Even if it's just, or there's a problem or something, like that's a big part. So I don't know how to explain, what I mean, the best way to go about that because everybody's different. You can't have certain conversations with certain people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why, like, like I said from earlier, I was like, if you introduce to somebody who's never been, in something like this, that's in a more of a traditional viewpoint when it comes to relationship, you're going to run into big problems here. You know what I'm saying? So I would be on the lookout for stuff like that, or even religious or spiritual aspects. People don't
Right.
always view this the same. Some people are
So
like, yeah, you know,
It's mentioned in the Bible in several different spaces. So
there
many
is.
different people took on
right,
multiple wives.
It
But
is.
right.
I even looked up before the show and I seen a few things that were talked about in the Quran. So it's a cultural thing that happened
Mhm,
way before our time,
Oh yeah.
and things were
mhm,
handled a certain kind of way. It's just a lot of things traditionally, as time passed on, were put veils over, a veil was placed over it, or things were hidden and taken away. And, but some of this is still happening in other countries. It's probably new to us as a certain generation of people, but in other cultures and in other countries, this is a norm and it's not something that has to be talked about because it's a cultural thing.
Right.
It's beneficial to
mhm.
humanity,
Right.
from all parts of life in different cultures. And so the thing is, over here, we've had such a perverted ideal of what things should be that, people just move shady as hell. You know what I'm saying? They doing things wrong, but in our youth, we all have some form of experience with different things. And so again, as time progresses, we learn, and that's the gist of it all. We have to go through something to even obtain wisdom from it to know whether or not if it's best for us. And I honestly believe that's what's going on. Poly is trending, but you have so many people that aren't really in poly relationships. They're just having group sex, and it ends in heartache and heartbreak because they haven't gone and taken the proper steps to even address what it is that they want out of this. And someone is traumatized because the man of their life has stepped away and left with the other girl that they brought to the bedroom, and didn't do anything else. And now they done went damn crazy because they've yet to have a complete understanding of what poly is and how it
True.
looks. So
That is true.
That's
And it has been happening for a long time. That's been going on, but they have multiple wives or multiple husbands for a long time, for years. And and it's not a trend, but it's something that it has happened in our world. It has always been like that. And it came to the part where even just 20, 30 years ago, I mean, even if they thought, okay, they'd be just husband and wife, they have a family together. But a lot of times back then, even too, like you said, sometimes you want more. And so people go seek outside their house to find something that they're missing. Now,
mhm.
again, I mean, how do you introduce that to a person, your partner, saying, hey, this is the way I'm thinking, this is what I might want in a relationship, bring somebody else to the mix. What if they don't want it? Then what do you
Right.
Who
do?
dogs barking?
My dog.
I'm like, who dogs barking? I think that is our cue. I
Oh
promise
boy.
you, it seems like that is our cue.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get out of this sweater and
Oh, you are hilarious. You are hilarious, Venus. I definitely think, just generally speaking, though, like the point of view and the reference of like just generally that you've given from is like just you know a so-called black woman. I would like to say, you know what I'm saying, it's really great because it's not too many women that can just give
Gosh.
a real perspective that can be very intellectual on top of informative. You get what I'm saying? And it is, so um, I definitely, I'm appreciative of like being able to understand from your perspective. You get what I'm saying? Oh my goodness gracious. Um, I think you. Why don't you just? Wow. Oh my gosh. Why don't you? Yeah. How was that?
thank you. The host
No
muted
problem.
me. I'm
There
like,
we go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
yes, you
Oh
muted me
goodness
instead of
gracious.
yourself, so we still heard the dogs. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, Ty, I have been muted. I cannot talk. You're like,
I
oh
hit
my
the wrong
God.
one.
And
I'm
I'm just
I'm
sorry.
like,
like,
yeah, it's
I'm like,
okay.
I'm like, what was your question again?
We gonna keep it moving. Hey, I just know. I was just saying. I just appreciate
That's because
how.
you said I was a black woman. You made me dead.
No. A soul call, soul
Oh,
call, soul call. So, and that's just for people that may not understand, and for the ones who
yes.
may not be aware, the very, hopefully very few that may not be aware, but you know how that may be. Um, I just wanted to understand, more from a person's perspective that can understand this from a cultural sense, and like I said, because it has, very much so intellectual sense of a point of view, like you was explained. Because some people just may be thinking of this as just, I got two women at home. When I come home, she cooking, she doing this, she that. It's not just that, It's you don't just run into that and make that you know what I mean. That's not just
Mhm.
immediately just gonna happen, and it's so much more to it. I was just thankful to understand more of it. So, the people I'm sure that tune in have definitely got a good understanding as well. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I will say I appreciate the dialogue with both of you all. And time went by so quickly because we were having a good conversation and
Yeah.
everything is in place. So I must say I did enjoy this platform with you all, and I won't hesitate to make my way back. But I will say,
Let's go.
I got to come up out this good old hoodie in a second and climb
Oh
into that good
man,
old
you
bed.
better go ahead then.
I mean, it's like we dressed alike, ain't we, Dr. Scorpio?
That's a fact. You know
You
what I'm
know what I'm
saying?
saying? I'm
That's
like,
a
good.
fact.
But
You know
see,
what
if
I'm
I take
saying?
this joint off, me and Professor Jazz gonna be dressed alike.
Oh, shit.
Uh oh. Uh oh.
Oh,
Uh
Oh,
oh. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I just
no,
salute
we
to
are
you.
not.
Salute to you, Venus. You know
oh.
what I'm saying? I just want to thank you. You know what I'm saying? Professor Jazz as well. Very great, topic tonight. We definitely gonna be coming back to it. So I wanna,
Oh, then we're gonna keep on talking. This is a good conversation.
well, the funny part about this was I felt like, um, the more I asked them certain questions, the more I would find out, the more I could leave certain questions to be left
Well, it's not the questions.
for
I
another
did
day.
do some research last night because there is different
That
types
is
of
true too.
relationships. It's not just, okay, it's three people, but there's different types of polyamorous relationships.
Yes, that is
There
true.
is, there's actually quite a few. There's like 9 types of them. But I want to know
I think
Um,
Venus mentioned one of them earlier.
I'm still here.
yeah. What did she consider? What type of partner? What do you consider yourself in a polyamorous relationship? If you're the one that wants, just one other partner, or there's that's the throuple, that's the quad, there's different types of
Hmm.
poly relationships that, it doesn't just fit in one category. There's people where they even are single, but they go ahead and date or be in relationships with multiple partners, but they still live in the single life. That's a type of
Hmm.
poly relationship. I feel like, again, people are not really in tune on really trying to figure out if this is something that they want to do, because again, this community is very small. A lot of people are, again, in the traditional way where it's just a man and a woman, in a relationship, and it's supposed to go ahead and build off just two of them,
Hmm.
and I feel like, when I was doing some research last night, there was the hierarchical polygamy, and that is like basically they prioritize their primary partner, which, you have your partner, you bring somebody into the mix,
Hmm.
but you set rules. You already have your rules, and you bring this person, and they have to basically live by the rules. Now,
Gotcha.
if they're the third person has an issue with it, well, you're going to let them go because your priority is your primary partner. No matter what, you could let go of the third person because they have an issue with it, but your primary partner is your partner. So you're going to go ahead and do whatever your partner says. So if your partner says, hey, I don't like this girl, or they cannot get along, well, guess what? She's basically my girlfriend, my wife, doesn't like this other female. Well, say bye to the female.
Makes
Well,
sense.
without all the catchy titles, we already spoke on that.
Yes. So
Mm.
that's
You know,
all.
so
Go ahead.
Right.
so it was already a conversation. Basically, if a person doesn't fit or mesh in the mold that you set out for yourself and your partner, that's not the person that you need there, because from the beginning there's confusion. When they were doing that whole red flag trend, a red flag is a red flag no matter how you look at it. So if a person isn't fitting into the mesh of things, then it's not it. I mean, I gave you that in the analogy of what I was talking about. Basically, with my own story, the person couldn't even be on time to a meetup.
Right.
What are
Yeah,
you doing that's so
exactly.
important? Whereas we ain't included in it, because if you saying that you're the partner to our
Right.
partnership, then we should be able to communicate with one another and do it in a timely manner. Why you gone missing?
Right.
What are you busy with? Maybe this isn't for us. So again, like you said, what is it? A hierarchical? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Hierarchy.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why I was thinking when you mentioned that earlier, I was thinking like, okay, so you got somebody in your phone named Daddy and shit, and you over here trying to get a whole
Hmm.
nother demo. It's like, what do you got going on? Like
You're not
legit,
really ready
Because
for
you
this
already know from the
situation.
beginning,
legitimate.
hey, you're meeting us,
Because I
not
mean,
just
yeah,
me.
because granted, it could be your real pops, but like, uh, you know, I don't know. Like I
Period.
would do the same thing you was thinking. I'll be thinking the same way, and I'm like, like I said, you
Like,
see,
this
we have
ain't for us.
academics. You know what I'm
This
saying?
ain't
Yeah,
for us. This ain't for us.
yeah,
You know,
exactly. That's not that. Yeah, that ain't for
this
us.
ain't our demonstration.
Yeah.
So then there's also, like I said, the solo polyamory. Individual that lives as a single partner as themselves,
Mm-hmm.
but they date and have romantic connections with multiple partners. Now,
Hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, that's a part where, again, you probably just want to be single. You still like to be single and independent, but you want to have a romantic connection, not just romantic, but maybe, like you said, maybe I can have this connection with this person because, they're showing me a different type of love, but then this other person can be good in bed, or this other person, hey, their mentality is what you like because, hey, maybe they're trying to build out something financially. So you might not just connect it with someone permanently or primary. You just
Mm-hmm.
evenly connected with everybody.
Mm, makes sense, and that makes sense too. The thing is, if we had, kind of practiced this from a more cultural sense as well, it would be less dysfunctionalism within our community, because that's all that was going on. You know what I mean? Like everybody, especially back in the day, to a certain degree, you know, Papa was a Rolling Stone. You know what I mean? When they made that record, that was a real thing that was happening where you got people who had two families, three families, and nobody knew. You know what I mean? A lot of these musicians, that's what they had going on. You know what I'm saying? And instead of
Right.
having that in a cultural sense and an understanding that these type of things should be integrated that way, it would have cured all of the craziness that happened. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people when I was coming up, they were dealing with that. And these were older people when I was younger,
Yeah.
maybe, you know what I mean? I barely was just about to be 20 years old and I was seeing 40-year-old people, 50-year-old people find out they had different cousins, relatives from different places and stuff. Don't know
Hmm.
why. You know what I mean? Because we
Yeah.
don't have that sense of saying, hey, this is what happens when you are in relationships or you have a
Oh,
certain type
I
of
see
intimacy.
Miss Venus over there. Right.
Whew.
Girl strip.
So,
All right, that
oh
girl.
boy. Uh oh.
Exhale.
Let
Uh
the
oh.
girls,
She
yeah, let the
said,
girls
and
breathe.
is. Okay.
They might
Breathe
not feel
easy.
the
Exhale.
fact that they can't even breathe right now.
Funny as
Yeah.
hell. But you know what I mean, though? It's just interesting, though. That's all.
Right.
It's just
And so
Yeah.
interesting.
that's the normal the triador throuple couple, which is
Mm.
usually a couple, a man and a woman trying to bring someone in the mix, you know. And
I think you got to
usually,
be a
yeah, and
three.
this involves just three people again. And then there's the quad. The quad involves two couples or just a total of four people, you know, where a lot of times it could be two couples that they want to just have, you know, maybe they interact with each other. Maybe they're friends. Somehow they're connected with each other and they end up getting to a different level, not just intimacy, but maybe, again, they want to take it further where, hey, if just me as this couple, me and my partner can build this, imagine what including another couple in this, especially if it's another couple that has the same mindset that you have, you know, you want to build something even bigger. Like you said, the maybe, you know, there is where, you know, you could have two men and two women, you know, and you might not be able to interact as much as a whole with your partner, but then you find something else with the other couple's husband or wife, and then between the four of you, you guys become a really good couple, you know, that are building
Mm-hmm.
out things.
If that works, from a real nigga perspective, don't just keep it a bug. Um, I don't see. I only see certain niggas
Yeah,
being in a relationship with two women.
right.
I don't really see, certain guys doing it, but I mean, it is certain guys who are doing it because I see them. I seen certain things online where guys are doing it.
But you know what? That has been the norm for years. From the beginning of time, is usually was the men have multiple females,
Right.
multiple wives. You know,
Right.
there was the kings back then where they had multiple wives. You know, even like Venus said, in cultures where it's the man that has multiple wives. You know, and it's usually where, you know, a lot of times they will have multiple wives in order for them to go ahead and plant the seed to have more children because they want to go ahead and build this tribe or whatever with their own blood. So why not have multiple women that could bear your child? But
Right.
nowadays it's more like more slowly introducing where the woman has multiple husbands. And that is okay too. I mean,
It's just happening like Venus was saying, like you even brought up. We have been doing this. We just have been doing this under no lesser term. You get what I'm saying? And it just hasn't been really structured properly for people to
right.
have healthy lives.
Right.
So instead of knowing that this traditionalism aspect was something that was kind of given to people because it was needed and
Yeah.
it's still needed, um, but you know, um, if we were raised to have this kind of a mindset from the jump, it would be healthy just as much as that.
True.
We would logically think the same way about, okay, I have two mommies because my daddy's doing this, and that's what it is. Because men are supposed to have three wives,
Well,
and
I'm
I
finna tell you, I'm about to cut out of here. I appreciate y'all again.
Thank you for coming,
much
and I
love,
hope to see
Venus.
your future
Thank you again.
shows.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Much
Talk
love.
to y'all later.
You have a
Peace.
good night. But
Y'all too.
there was another type called the V polyamorous relationship, which is one partner that's involved with two people, but they're not involved with each other. So it could be like where you, Dr. Scorpio, you have your partner, but then say, you introduce her to your partner and she don't want to be involved, but you still want to, and she's okay with that. So why not have where you could have your primary partner and then have somebody else on the side, but they don't have to really know. I mean, they know of each other, but they don't
Know about each
communicate
other for
about it
real.
with each other.
Yeah, I would say, you know what I'm saying? I do see that a lot in certain aspects of like people who, like I said, she, you know, when Venus really broke that down earlier, it was like, it made total sense. It's just we don't have the understanding to it. So I don't know, man. It's a lot of ways you can do it. The main way, really, I would say, is like, you just gotta be honest, and it's certain things that you have to be able to say. The communication goes back again too, because
Right.
you have to be able to say, this is what I'm trying to do from the jump with a person. Introducing it to them later could cause a riff in which, you know what I mean, this person originally planned with you, and now they have to replan the life that they thought that they would have with you, or the time that they thought they would spend with you. So that's not really fair to them. You kind of got to be able to openly say that, kind of, not necessarily just, I mean, you can say it with no conviction. I mean, you should be able to, but you know what I mean? However it's comfortable for a person, be like, hey, look, I'm into this.
But
So
and that's the thing though too. It's like when you bring it up to your partner and say, okay, this is how I feel. I feel like, this is how I live. I want to have another partner in this.
mhm.
And your partner says no, they don't agree with it. They don't
Right.
want that. They want more of the traditional relationship. Well, how are you going to react? A lot of people will react where it's going to come to, well, in a way,
Personally,
sort of, I'm cheating because now I'm doing what I want to do because I stated to you that's how I am and that's how I live my life, but you don't want it. So I'm going to
personally,
resort to
I
that.
view stuff like that in a way where it's what it is to a level. It's like I can only say so much to a person where it's like, okay, uh, people say things like, how do I say? People say stuff like, it's only so much. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you got to be able to just have that one on one with a person from the jump and be able to say, like, look, this is what's happening immediately. Because once you do that, it's no way really to handle that. It's other than the person saying, look, this ain't gonna work.
Right.
And I wouldn't really even advise someone to stay in a relationship with a person saying, no, you gotta conform to the traditionalism aspect
Right.
unless you are really ready to change your life for that person, or that type
Sure.
of a goal for your life, like, or that outlook for your life. You got to be able to be like, that's what I'm really
And,
looking
and that's what you have to prepare of because again, what if their mindset is not to that? What if their mindset is traditional? Are you prepared to go ahead and drop
for.
your
Everything you doing,
polyamorous life to be monogamy to this one person? Are
literally.
you going to be able to do that?
And most people, honestly, I mean, because this is the thing, their niggas are living like that on without a term to it. So eventually, niggas do get tired of saying, "Okay, I got three different girls I'm talking to, and none of them know I'm talking to them,
Yeah.
and none of them really are reliable enough to say I can trust them enough to do this or be this for me. So now I need to find one girl, and then I just deal with that one girl." So people do it a lot, and it works, but it's just on a level where it's like eventually it still isn't enough because you left all of the other aspects of these women that you dealt with that were somewhat beneficial when you needed them to be beneficial. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? To just get all of it from one woman, and it is hard to just get certain things off from one woman because it takes time for that woman to learn you, or a person, or a man too. It takes time for a person to learn a person and be able to be like, I can do that for you. You know what I'm saying? And they got to be willing to commit to that, and it's a lot. So that's why I do feel like, you know, if we engulfed some of these type of thinkings, and understandings from a practical sense, it
Yeah.
would be less of like, oh, I'm finna kill this nigga. 'Cause you know what I mean? My bitch fucked on this nigga. Da da da. They gonna understand like, okay, that's what's happening right now. And until you know what I'm saying, what I mean, I traditionally do this or with this person, or I seek a person to do whatever. That's just kind of how relationships can go, and people have to kind of be more on a level where I'm gonna communicate that. Like I'm not all the way ready for this or that. But sometimes people don't know what they want, so it's
True.
hard to say.
That
You know what I'm
is
saying? At
true.
the same time, but you know what I mean. It's just something where people. That's why I said from the jump, it's really no way around it, and that's why as a person that's had experiences where I know I should have said something. You know what I mean? When it was
Yeah.
time to say something, but I didn't say it. It only bites you later in the ass. So why even
That
deal
is
with
true.
that? Say it from the jump and be like, hey, look, you know what? When you said whatever, I wasn't feeling that shit. Straight
And
up.
that's where you
Or
go ahead and
whatever.
give them that choice if they want to
Yeah.
accept it or not. As
Accept
long
what
as
I'm saying
you're
to you.
open.
Look, you said whatever. This I don't like that. Oh, you know what? This is how you know what? I just saw this. It really inspired me to do this, and I decided this is what I'm doing with my life. Or I'm really actually doing this, and I'm really this type of a person. Hey, take it or leave it. That's how you got to come at niggas now. And it's
You do.
2024. It's no reason to even be lying to a bitch. It's no reason to
Why
even
even
be.
sugarcoat it, like you say?
Why
Yeah.
even sugarcoat it? If the person really can't get with the demo, they not getting with the demo. If you got a lot of person getting with the demo, they just gonna do some weird shit later. And then you're gonna be looking like, why they doing this weird shit? They weren't ready. You manipulated them to be with it. So why are they gonna, follow this demo you trying to run on them after they realize, you know what, I'm a person that's not going to do this shit or conform to this shit. Like most people are selfish, so they're not going to be like, hey, you know what, I'm going to share everything I got going on with this person forever. At a certain point, you could have a person that's really willing to just do whatever, and yeah, that's cool. But sometimes people just change; they don't want to do that no more. You know what I'm
True.
saying? Now you got spiteful side bitches and shit because they don't
Yeah.
want to do that shit no more, or you didn't already promised this bitch something, you ain't fulfilled that shit. You know what I mean? So
That is true.
I don't know, man. It's a lot of bullshit that can occur when you do this shit with people, and things
It's not
happen.
that
Where,
easy.
it's not easy. Yeah,
It's
it's
not
not
easy
easy.
to just bring another person. It's like, here, just
It's
bringing
not
them
easy.
here. No, it doesn't
Just yeah,
work
just
like
yeah, and to be real, I just I had certain conversations with people, and they're remorseful for certain situations where in their relationships I had conversations with older guys, and they like, hey, I should have did this and that with this situation because I tried to just merge everything. I wanted to leave this situation, go to this situation, and bring it all together and just transition it all smooth and stuff, and it don't work
Yeah.
like that. It's a lot of different characteristics involved, people involved, you know what I'm saying? And then lives, if you have children involved, it's a lot of things happen. That's why I was saying
And
this,
that's where there's
you know.
more
So
or something where you need to be careful, when you had children involved. Um, because it's already work enough between you, your partner, and this other person on how many people you're bringing in. But when you involve children, that's something different because you have to make them kind of understand because they
what's
do
happening?
see, again, the traditional ways, but now it's like more, they're trying to open up to us
Me
as young
personally,
to go ahead and be open and accepted in, different
me
types of situations.
me personally, this is how I view this. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, real like I'm not gonna be long winded at all because this is really simple. I would just kind of introduce this to my kids in a way where they would understand certain things where anything is possible. And yeah, I may be with your mother or I may be doing XYZ, but you have unlimited possibilities.
Right.
I may be doing this. You can do this. You don't have to just do this. You can have this. And you can explain that to them on a level to where they can understand, you know what I mean? Where they are, ready for it. When they get 13, yeah, you can have a girlfriend, but you can have two.
Right.
You just
But
gotta
do
know
you
how to handle it.
think
You know what I'm saying?
is that setting a good example? Because again, people might think negatively. It's like, okay, well,
Personally, I'm gonna say it like this:
uh,
it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
right,
So it's like I do think it's setting a good example for kind of letting people understand that the dating world is about options, not final decisions. Your
okay,
final decision is when you really make that final decision. You shouldn't go and approach any person from 13 till night to 19 through 19, 21, 23 and be like, you know what? Let me just throw all my chips in this shit and be like, boom. You have to really be you have to really be cognizant. You got to know what's going on, know people. You got to be the person that always gets away because you're trying to always solidify something that really makes sense, not like be folding for just, oh, I like this girl. Okay, great. In another year,
right,
you gonna still like her? You might not.
sure.
You
That is
might move away and she go fuck some other dude and break your heart. You don't really know.
that
So
is
you
true.
have to be able to make real decisions and not be like, my dick is hard. It's not all about that. And
Yeah,
the real problem, niggas don't. It, like I said, this type of shit ain't really integrated into the dating process. We're not really going to these public school settings and these work settings and these other places where niggas all come into a conglomerate and be like, oh, this is just another mating thing. Niggas getting together and fucking the bitches after work. When they linking together doing it, like literally, it's just a mating grounds where people pretend like it's not
right,
because it's a main objective, but the main objective is mundane. So the real objective is to do the things you're not doing when you're not doing that shit because you got to do that shit anyway. So it's like, who's the bitches? What's this?
right.
What's that? We experience it every day. That's why, like I said, if it was just integrated, it would be less problems, less confusion, less all of that. You already got three big mamas, bro. Why don't you just tell them from the jump that's what you was trying to do?
Right, and that's the thing,
You know what I'm
though.
saying?
Why would you go ahead and have, again, why would you have two, three different baby mamas when maybe you could have had them all at the same time and built together? There's so many things that could happen as long as there was some kind of communication instead of
Because niggas put all their chips in that.
true.
When you about to come, you about to come. It ain't like, I'm gonna hold back 30% of this come. So 70% is left for another bitch so she can have the rest of that later. And you giving it all to her. So it's over with. So then that happens and then something else happens and then another thing happens and then y'all not together. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just what it is. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, there's no real aspect to say, I don't need to come in this bitch because my life isn't set up. So why do I need to come in this bitch? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It's what it is.
So I wanted to talk
You know what I'm
about this
saying?
two other polyamorous relationships. There's one called
Let's
the
do it.
kitchen table polyamory,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one is called the parallel polyamory relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
the kitchen table is basically is say you and me are a couple and we both start dating somebody else, but at the end of the day we come home, because we live together and we talk about our
Mm-hmm.
other relationship. Oh yeah, so I went out with so and so today. We went to the movies or whatever like that, or we went to go do something, and it was okay to have that conversation with your partner. Now, the parallel polyamory, you don't want to know what your partner's doing with that other partner. It's like, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
know you have somebody else, but I don't want to know details.
Oh, exactly. And that's my whole. Even with celebrities, it just so much goofy shit occurs because people are still trying to do. I'm gonna do this traditional thing, knowing that you're not really gonna contribute a real
Right.
like effort towards that. You just gonna say
Yeah.
you are, and then you get literally on the tour bus. You've been fucking everybody, and like I said, I think I would, like I've seen it just happen. I'm a musician. I've been in the studio. I've been around niggas, and everything like every chance they get, they cheating on their bitch.
Oh
And I
yeah.
used to look at that shit and wonder, like, damn, why is niggas, doing whatever with they bitch, and why this happen with they? It's just what happens. You know what I'm saying? And when you young, but it's like you talking niggas are 30 plus or whatever,
Yeah, it's like, why are you
and you
still
get
playing those kind of
married, and it's
games?
like, bro, why are you getting married and you know you finna fuck these hoes?
Exactly.
Especially for her to later on say he was supposed to be in a monogamous relationship with me and he decided to go outside of our marriage, infidelity, and this, that, and the third. Now she's
And
suing
that
you
could
for all
be
this money. And you
right.
could have straight up from the jump said, look, if it's not this, it's not that. And of course, a lot of times you can't get the bitch unless you tell her it's this. And it's just sometimes you gotta just say, I'm gonna take the L because if I'm not ready to not fuck a bitch when she says I'm ready to fuck, I'm gonna have to be able to say, I can't have a relationship with you and get
Right.
married. It's really not necessarily just a relationship with you.
Get
Get
married.
married to you.
Right. When you
So
get
if it's what,
married and have a family together, it's like you're dedicated to that person because you married them, you know. Why,
right?
if that's not what you wanted at that point, why do it? And you're dragging
It's
someone.
what people think they want, and it's nothing wrong. That's why I said like it's what people think they want. Some people think they want what they think they want. At that time, they think they want it, and that shit changes. And it is what it is. But it's like you gotta let niggas know from the jump. Like I said, if you're not rocking with what I'm rocking with, then you know. You know what I'm saying? And especially when it's something big like that, I want another person involved. Or I want,
Right.
anything that's a decision that you can't just think once about. You got to really think and plan something. You have to really have a real conversation with people there. You know what I'm saying? So I allow people to say, okay, like everybody says they willing to do this or they would do this or that, but I know in the back of my mind what's really happening with a big mass majority of people who say they really want to do something. It's you know what I'm saying? So, like I
Well,
said,
and the thing is, though, I just want to go ahead and just say some things. Like, if this is something you're thinking of trying to do with your partner, or, if this is the type of lifestyle you want, there's different things that you need to do, again,
right,
especially when you're with a partner. And if
right,
you feel like you want to add another person, there's a few things that you got to do before you really actually just bring someone, because you can't just bring someone and say, hey, this is my partner, this is my other partner, let's just bring her to the mix or bring him to the mix.
yeah, it's a lot to it.
And
That's why when Venus said that shit, I laughed. I said, wow, okay,
the
you know,
thing is, though, in order for you to have a good relationship with your partner,
right,
still work on it on top of, you know, adding another person to the mix. Just a few things that I want to just go ahead and say.
yeah,
First, it's like establish, and we talked about this, establish how much you want to share with each other. So first, you really, when you communicate about this, what are you willing to go ahead and let another person do? If another person comes in, I'm sure there's limits, because there's some people that might not feel comfortable in doing, okay, well, it's like you're serious with me, but it's like, okay, you want to have her and we could have a little fun, or maybe we could build something, but really set those boundaries clear.
right on,
And another thing, though, if you have a partner, make sure still, when you're in a polyamorous relationship, you make time with your primary partner, because you don't want that feel. It's like, oh, okay, they just wanted to go ahead and add another person because
right, right, right,
maybe I'm doing something wrong, and start making them feel insecure or something. You want to make sure you're still paying more attention to your primary partner, because they're the ones that you started having a relationship with. And you don't want them to feel insecure, or, you just left them to the side while you're trying to build another relationship with somebody else.
exactly. That's very true too.
And another thing is to make sure you set boundaries. Make sure you set those boundaries where you think something's going to make you feel uncomfortable. You got to let your partner know, because this way, you're not in a surprise or something that's going to upset you, where it's going to go ahead and become way worse.
Exactly,
Keep your
exactly.
expectation realistic. Don't if you don't like something, if it bothers you, where you say, "Oh no, well, I don't think you should be doing this with them," you know,
Mm-hmm.
express it. Let them know how you
Mm-hmm.
feel. You can't just agree with everything. You think you're gonna like everything. Okay, it might happen where you'll be okay with everything, but most people might not. And you want to make sure that there's no
Mm-hmm.
issue, there's no drama. So you want to go ahead and
Got you.
avoid that in the future. And
Got you.
again, what we always talk about is maintain a constant and open communication with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Not just with your
Yeah.
partner, but with the other person you're trying to bring in. Make them
Right.
understand that is the three of you or the four of you. Just make sure that everybody that's in this relationship understands, and
The fuck is
you're
going
not
on?
able to be hiding nothing from them, because again, it's like you're having not a relationship just with one person, but you're adding another one to the mix.
Exactly.
And then also, it's like make the most time of your me time. Take also time for yourself and realize if this is still what you want, if this is something that you feel like you're gonna benefit of it, and you really gotta see what you could build off it, because it's not just about, again, just having fun, having sex. You really want to go ahead and have a future with both of them, and you want to try to see what you can do in order to go ahead and build this with no issues.
Right.
But you really got to go ahead and make sure you know still who you are in yourself.
Exactly. That's a really, really, really great point. Really great point.
Also, last but not least, consider your motivations and your partners. You know, again, when you're in a relationship and you're trying to ask somebody else, you gotta still make your partner feel like they're the important ones. They're the ones still feeling in love. You're the one that is they wanted to be with you, but they agreed, or you both agreed upon bringing another person. Yes, the other person should feel important too, but not just as your primary partner, because your primary partner is the one that you have already most likely started already building something with them.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to lose that, especially a lot of times they don't want to lose that because they see something great in that person. They don't want to lose it. So make sure that you do take care of your partner.
Big, big, big facts. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, especially depending on what type of relationship you're having that involves multiple people.
And
So
again, that's something, again, you have to communicate, whether with a partner or even by yourself, and you want to do that. You make sure you communicate with the people you are trying to connect with. It's something that's more work than just having a monogamy relationship. It's just the two of you, but now you're involving more people. But I hope people do see it's more than just the sexual connection. It's not just about sex. If not, we would just be having threesomes or group sex, and then just leave it like that.
exactly.
But this is more of a relationship. You're not just trying to build something with someone. You could see a lot of the pluses, a lot of the bonuses when you bring somebody in. It's not just, the sexual part, but also financially. Maybe, you know, you need somebody else's opinion, somebody else's input that you might not see with you and your partner. You had somebody else had different interests than what your partner has, and you might like what their hobbies or interests is, so you might connect with them more mentally in a
Right.
way where, okay, it's like I don't have to have everything with my one partner, because realistically, there's no perfect man or perfect woman that can do everything that you want. Everything that you desire does not come with just one person.
That's true though. That's true.
So
Especially
people
because
start looking at
it's not
different
just
things
sexual, and not just in the sexual sense. Right.
right.
So yeah,
But
definitely.
at the end of the day, before we end this, I just hope that everybody does realize when they're trying to go ahead and get into it, there's always risk as well.
Right.
There's always risk that someone is not going to feel that love from you, or they're going to start feeling jealous because you may be spending more time with one person and not the other person. Or maybe they just rather have a person by themselves. Maybe, yeah, the polyamorous relationship is all good, it's all fun, but maybe they just want to have someone that will focus just on them. So they rather go ahead and turn to monogamy. And things like that can always happen. But at the end of the day, you need to communicate with your partner if you have a partner. Or if you're single and you want to date multiple people, have that connection, you need to communicate that with them and give them that option to have that choice at the end of the day. Because if you don't give them that choice and they're, and you're over there hiding it from them,
Well, yeah, exactly.
then it's going to be all bad. It's just going to be all bad.
Exactly. That's why, I was like, yeah, you got to let, you introducing something to somebody later on, you really just creating an obstacle that you're going to have to try to, defeat
Right.
with this person. Because,
Why?
like I said, they got to replan their life or the time they were going to spend with you. Because now you're telling them, what's another person you got to spend your time with too? And you don't know them yet, but I'm going to introduce you to them. It's like, they're not it's like, it's really crazy. You got to kind of be able to introduce things to people.
You do.
Right
And the
away.
thing is, though, I just want to say, I have had an experience or two before in involving myself in a relationship with a couple. And it's not just the physical part. Yes, it is, because just say, oh, okay, say, my man is too busy, but I have this other female here. Hey, we could go out, we could hang out, we could become friends, we could do this, we could become more intimate. But from what I have experienced, it has become negative. I mean, it didn't work out. Actually, it didn't work out because, again, people, no matter what, at the end of the day, everybody has a different mindset, and they might not like something that you do,
Right.
and it could end it all.
Literally.
And it takes a lot of
Just
work.
as quick as it started. Just as quick
Right.
as it started.
It takes a lot of work. So before anybody involves themselves in a polyamorous relationship, really think about if that's what you really want. Because it's not just about sex. You could build something with somebody else. It's a bonus. So I hope that everybody got to listen in today and really think about, okay, I'm not saying go for it. Everybody has a different opinion and what they want in their lives in a relationship.
Right.
But it's out there and it should not be put down because, again, what they're doing in their household behind closed doors, that's on them. If they feel like they're happy with 3 or 4 people, then that's fine.
Yeah,
And monogamy relationship, and I'm okay with just myself with my partner. We'll be able to build this. It's supposed to be like this, but it's really not because, again, like we said at the end of the day, this been going on from the beginning of time.
Big facts. So.
Yes, and this is a conversation that hopefully we could have more future conversations, and I want to bring more people in to go ahead and give their opinion, their thoughts of the polyamorous relationship. I want to bring in people that are actually going through a polyamorous relationship right now and how they're dealing with it. So I hope everybody does tune in to this future topic that we're going to have later on. But for now, I think we really had a good topic, and I really want to thank again our special guest Venus for coming in and giving her opinion. Because, again, a lot of people are close-minded about this. They don't see the bigger picture. They just see one little thing. Again, if you think it's just a sexual thing, then have a threesome or have group sex, and that's it.
Basically, yeah.
But these people, this community, they want to build off each other. They think that they could build more with multiple people. So why even frown upon it, or why try to stop it when, again, if it's working for them, then let it work for them, right?
Right.
And with that being said, I hope everybody have a good night. Thank you for everybody coming in, and I hope to see you guys on the next show that we have. We are on every Thursday, right, Dr. Scorpio?
That's a fact. So be on the lookout for more, guests and more, crazy shit we're gonna be bringing to y'all.
We're going to bring you guys a topic every Thursday that's going to make you guys really think about things, But make sure you guys do tune in. Come in on our YouTube. Check me out under Professor Jazz.
Big facts.
And then with that being said,